Are you digging up the dirt on your dead? Want to find out how? Hear the latest on new family history sources and websites with interesting and fun guests and experts. Find out what other people have been learning about their ancestors. From kings to thieves, inventors to farmers, nothing that's been discovered should surprise us anymore, but it always does. Find out what we mean. Great family history stories and information are on the way now with Extreme Genes, Family History Radio, and extremegenes.com.
Yeah, I don't think Mother knew about this.
Uncle Marvin was strangled by his own beard.
Yeah, never saw it coming. And welcome back, Genies. It's America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes, and extremegenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth, on the program where we shake your family tree and watch the nuts fall out. And this segment is brought to you by Restore, the unique software from Vivid Picks. Take the Vivid Picks fix right now and get a 20% discount, too, right up to the holidays. Well, nice to have you along. We've got a star-studded show today. First of all, as you know, with the passing of former President Bush here recently, Gary Boyd Roberts is one of these people who digs into the ancestries of the presidents. And he's got some great insight on the ancestry of President Bush, how he might relate to you, because apparently he relates to a large swath of the population, and how he relates to other presidents. It's going to be a fascinating conversation coming up in, 9 or 10 minutes or so. And then later in the show, Kurt Witcher is going to be on. He's one of the heads of the Allen County Public Library, the Genealogical Division Special Collections. And Kurt's going to tell you about the Internet Archives. And he's going to explain their origins and how this got going and what you can find on it. It is a great asset if you are researching your family. Hey, if you haven't signed up for our weekly Genie newsletter yet, make sure you do so. Just go to extremegenes.com. You'll find the form right there. It is absolutely free. We share links to fascinating stories for people interested in their genealogical work. I'll give you a blog each week and, of course, some links to current and past programs as well. Right now, let's head out to Boston, Massachusetts, and talk to my good friend, the chief genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society and AmericanAncestors.org, David Allen Lambert. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Fish.
I got to tell you, I'm a little bit tired here, David. The last couple of nights, I had a breakthrough on behalf of some of my DNA matches that I found. And one was through an illegitimacy, and because another test came in of somebody I thought she might be close to, we validated who the grandfather was of this person. And she wants to have a family reunion right now. She's pretty excited about it. And then this other one actually led to the discovery of a child of one of my immigrants' kids. And in his case, we didn't know he had any children. So this was a whole new branch that opened up. So I was up to like midnight last night putting those things in there so other people can find that information as they come along. The person I connected with can't believe it, and she's been looking for years and years and years to understand it. So it's been tiring, but a lot of fun as well.
Well, you're going to be up to midnight tonight because it sounds like you've expanded upon your Christmas card list.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yep.
Well, my ancestors would be mad at me about this because on December 16th, 1773, here in Beantown, we had a little party, a tea party.
Yes, you did.
And what is nice about that is 245 years later, they have decided now to put little plaques in front of the graves of the people that participated. It's an interesting historical event, and as a member of the Sons of the American Revolution, I'm actually on a committee that we're investigating other tea parties, and also if some of the people who claim to have been at the tea party may have actually been there. Well, on extremegenes.com, you'll find a wonderful list of 5 things from Men's Journal. From 23andMe, your results can tell you, of course, the different continents your ancestors come from, your long-lost relatives you never knew you had, kind of like you, Fish, finding those deep cousins.
Yeah.
You can find out why I'm bald or balding and why my brother isn't, and that's one of the things. That's number 3. Number 4, you can find out different health conditions you may be susceptible to. Number 5, you may also find healthy habits for your genetics that may be better inclined for you to do. Now, the best part of it, though, I must say, is when I get to find out if my brother or I have more Neanderthal than the other.
Yeah, that's true. You can do that with 23andMe, right?
You can. Since my brother has more than I can now say that I knew why he could climb the heck out of trees when he was a kid. It makes more sense.
Perfect.
One of the things that puzzles me is that in schools today, they don't really teach handwriting. But NEHGS Molly Rogers, who's part of our team to put the Catholic records of the Archdiocese of Boston online, has done a great job of going out to some of the schools and teaching high school kids how to be involved. And some of them have signed up, almost 100, to help out with the project that American Ancestors is doing, which is great.
Wow.
They're learning history and also learning something called handwriting, something that you and I take for granted. I think it's a wonderful collaboration.
Well, it's an important thing for somebody to teach kids to do, especially if they ever have any aspirations of researching their ancestors or history.
I'll tell you, I get a good laugh for you. I would put a little cartoon up on my Twitter, DL Genealogist, and it is a cartoon of someone today showing a box and holding a photo. Oh, look, this is my great-grandfather. How cool and mysterious he is. And then they shoot ahead to the future where someone says, hey, I just downloaded an archive of my great-grandfather's Facebook updates. He hated Mondays and loved telling people when he was bored. Is that going to be what our descendants are going to find?
I'm frightened that you might be right about that. Yep.
Well, somebody who was born way before the internet, I want to wish a happy 102nd birthday to Ishar Danovich. Now, you're probably wondering who that is, and maybe some of your listeners are too. Well, that's Kirk Douglas. On December 9th, he turned 102. The great Spartacus is still married for over 60 years to his lovely wife, Ann Boydens, who is a young 99 compared to his 102.
That's incredible.
The town of Amsterdam, New York, where Ishar, or Kurt, was born, has now just put up a historical marker, 102 years after the fact. I think that's kind of nice.
No, that's incredible. That's great, and well-deserved.
Absolutely a wonderful thing to have happen to him, and I wish him many more happy and healthy years. All right, my blogger spotlight shines upon Roberta Estes' website and blog called DNA-explained.com. A really curious little post she put up is Discovering Your Inner Viking, which is a great little post she did about her DNA that is Viking-related before her trip to Oslo. So you can see her pictures from her trip, also find her DNA results, and you may ponder about your inner Viking.
Sounds like a great blog.
It does at that. Well, that's all I have from Beantown this week. And remember, if you're not a member of American Ancestors, you can join by saving $20 by using the coupon code EXTREME.
All right, David, thank you so much. Good stuff. And coming up next, we're going to talk to another guy who's had a long-running association with NEHGS. He's Gary Boyd Roberts. He is a researcher into presidential ancestry, and he's got a lot to say about the ancestry of former President George Herbert Walker Bush. Coming up next in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show. Hi, Genies, it's Fisher, and here we go, another new year of discovering and preserving and sharing. And now that so many of you have taken advantage of the Vivid Pics gift idea, you know that Restore from Vivid Pics is going to be one of your most important tools in preservation. For just $49.99, this incredible software can forevermore restore your photographs with just one click. And I'm talking about photos where the color is gone and they've faded away, and you want those incredible memories back. You just scan your picture, run it through Restore, and bam, you've got 9 options to choose from as your best photo. So if you're one of those people who's a little bit technically challenged, and many people are, this is an incredible way to go. $49.99, and that's not just for 1 year, that's forevermore. And by the way, it works on documents as well. If you can't read a special document, just run it through Restore, and everything that document has to reveal is yours. Click on the link to Vivid Pics through our website, extremegenes.com.
Did you know that Family Search Family Tree is available through a powerful new mobile app experience? That's right. Now you can view, edit, and even add information to ancestors in your family tree whenever and wherever you are. You no longer need to wait to get home or make a date with your computer to view or update your family tree. You can add details to your tree when visiting with family or when capturing details from a trip to the cemetery. You can share new family history discoveries from classroom sessions settings. You can even make the most of your time when waiting for doctor appointments or car repairs. Get started today by downloading the free Family Search Family Tree app to your Apple or Android device. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to get the Family Tree app for free. Exploring and expanding your family tree has never been more convenient. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to download the Family Search Family Tree mobile app today.
Legacy Tree Genealogist is a proud sponsor of Extreme Genes. Based in Salt Lake City, Utah, near the world's largest family history library, we've worked with genealogists all over the globe since 2004 to track down records, find your ancestors, and the stories that bring your legacy to life. We also analyze DNA test results, help you join lineage societies, and find missing cousins. Legacy Tree is the recommended research partner of MyHeritage.com and is the world's highest client-rated genealogy firm. Call us toll-free at 1-800-818-1476 or register online to get a free estimate. Right now, you can save up to $100 on professional genealogy research. But hurry, this offer expires at the end of the month. Even experienced researchers can benefit from our proven and experienced staff of specialists who can bring new approaches to old problems. Learn from our free genealogy tips on our blog at legacytree.com/blog. Legacy Tree Genealogists. We do the research. You enjoy the discoveries.
Welcome back to America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes and extremegenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth. This segment is brought to you by Legacy Tree Genealogists. Of course, last week we had a national day of mourning for former President George Herbert Walker Bush. Bush 41, as he was affectionately known. And I thought we'd get on Gary Boyd Roberts. He's one of the great researchers of presidents in the United States in genealogy, also the kings and queens of Europe. I mean, you are just deep in the weeds in all this stuff, Gary. And he's long been associated with the New England Historic Genealogical Society and American Ancestors.org. Gary, as you were watching the funeral last week, you had to have been thinking about all the different people this man was tied to that you've researched.
Yes. I have suggested that he might be related to as many as half or more than half of the American people. He has a Mayflower line. He is related to all of Pocahontas' descendants, although not descended from Pocahontas himself. He has kinships to 18 presidents, including his son, and to 17 first ladies, including his wife. You don't get that level of interestingness in everyone's ancestry.
No, you don't. And of course, it's obviously in large part because of the position that he held and also the manner with which he always conducted himself before, during, and after his presidency. And I'm related to him through John Howland of the Mayflower and Elizabeth Tilley. Robert Hinckley was one of his ancestors and is an ancestor of many people in this country. Including
Obama.
Yeah, Robert Cross and Anna Jordan is another well-known New England couple. But I think the thing you've said about him, the reason he's related to so many Americans, and of course then obviously his son would be as well, is because of the fact that he has ancestry from many different parts of colonial America.
Yes, that's true. 1/3 New England, roughly 1/3 Mid-Atlantic, including both New York Dutch and New Jersey or Pennsylvania Quaker, and Southern.
So when you combine all these and the fact that they go back so far, you think over the centuries, obviously they have many, many descendants, and that works into the general population, and that actually integrates with the immigrant population of, say, the last 150 years or longer. Pretty soon you have a large portion of the American population related to their president.
Yes. In the period right after the Civil War, as people moved west and to the middle states, a great many people of Yankee and of Southern ancestry intermarried, and you get mixed ancestry that way. Then in the 20th century, a great many people of Irish, Italian, French Canadian, Scandinavian earlier, German earlier, and other kinds of ancestry intermarried with this group. And in the 20th century, some Black, Hispanic, and Asian people did as well. That is continuing. And so this crux a solid block at any rate, of colonial ancestry is now shared by a huge number of Americans and will be shared by more and more Americans and a larger percentage of Americans as everybody in the country intermarries.
Right, including non-Europeans. You mentioned Barack Obama, for instance. He's half European, and he's a descendant of Robert Hinckley as well. So this is interesting because I posted this photograph of him. I met George Herbert Walker Bush for the first time in 1971. I was in radio, and my first job was setting up microphones for remotes for the announcers and running the remote broadcast. And in Greenwich, Connecticut, the hometown fathers were honoring the hometown boy made good as the ambassador to China. And so here he is. He's like 47 years old with his wife, Barbara, appearing at this elementary school cafeteria, which was half full. And so I'm sitting off on the wings of this stage, and they're throwing the accolades at this man. And I'm just staring at him as a 16-year-old kid thinking, well, what kind of expression do you put on your face when people are saying so many nice things about you? You know, just as a kid would think, and I'm studying him, and suddenly he turns and he looks at me, he smiles, and he winked. And I'd been caught, and I was embarrassed. And later on, of course, he became vice president, and then later he became president. And one day, many years later, 1998, I was asked to MC an event at which he spoke. And I told that story about what had happened when I was 16 years old, not realizing he had already shown up and he's behind the curtain listening to what I'm saying. And when the event was over, he came over to me and he says, "You the guy that did that introduction?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And he says, "Sure enjoyed that." And he had caught me again. But I had the experience of getting a photograph with him on 2 different occasions. And each time you meet him, he's just the same as you see him and just the same as you're hearing him described. And it really is a loss. I think he was a much beloved man, and I think history is going to look very kindly on him for his time in office as he was part of the transition, obviously, from the Cold War days and the bringing down of the wall in Germany.
It's even been thought by some people that he is the most recent president somewhat universally admired. But every president since has either had something going on that a large number of the people in the country disliked, or the partisanship grew, and Bush is the last one, along with Carter, who's still living, by the way,
yep,
and is only 4 months younger than Bush. At any rate, Bush especially is the last president that a lot of Americans can and do admire.
And some people are suggesting he may have been the most successful one-term president.
Yes, and that may well be true. My book came out in '89, and in time for the 200th anniversary of the presidency. It was called Ancestors of American Presidents, and it was used to answer letters and correspondence after I published that he was probably related to half or more of the American people. Then a great many people did get in touch with the White House, and the White House called me to adjudicate, and he could indeed belong to a whole batch of family history societies and family name societies, because he was descended from that family or had ancestors in that place. And then there were a few, like the origin of the Bush family, which is unknown, a few places that were not so entitled. The most fun one, however, was his descent from a Walloon family that was also behind Delano and Le Mathieu behind Cook, and the mother of the first Delano was Le Mathieu as well. At any rate, both FDR and Bush were descended from this family, and so a chart was drawn up to be shown to Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands, and the White House called me and said, "Can you authenticate this?" And I said, "Read me the chart." They did, and I said, "It's absolutely correct. Tell the President and the Queen to just enjoy it."
That's a great story, Gary. So he's related to all these presidents, and you say like 18 of them, right?
Yes.
What about first ladies and vice presidents? Is he related to some of those?
I don't know about the vice presidents whose ancestry I have not systematically looked at. A friend of mine, Alexander Batterman, in Charleston, West Virginia, has been examining all of the ancestry of first ladies he's published on everybody except Hillary and Rosalind Carter, and those are due for his next issue of his journal. At any rate, from all of his work and the work I had done previously, I reached a total of 17, including his wife, and they begin with Abigail Adams and end with Mamie Eisenhower and Nancy Reagan.
Interesting.
And his own wife, but he's not related to his daughter-in-law that I know of.
You know, I don't think we should go through this whole thing, Gary, without talking a little bit about the break in the Bush line, because there's really a question as to whether or not he actually is in a male-to-male-to-male Bush bloodline. Isn't that true?
Well, there was a place in Essex that claimed to be the home, and I think was, of a Reynold Bush who came to New England, and wasn't he the ancestor? Well, we have a Timothy Bush showing up somewhere in Connecticut, I believe, about 1715 to 20, and we just don't know his origin. He might be the great-grandson or whatever of this Reynold, but he might not. And so that was one of the negatives I had to give the White House, and the president did not go to that place in Essex because we couldn't really guarantee that that was where the Bush family began.
Right, and the story goes that this son was born more than a year after the death of his supposed Bush father, and so there's that big question mark, right?
I'm not aware of that. I'm aware of such a situation on a somewhat related line that married into the Bush family early, but that kind of thing was moderately common in our ancestry. I'm amazed at all of the DNA stuff that works. I would have thought that there would have been much more irregularity than there is when most family associations or family groups test their DNA. They find that 90% or more share the same thing. I would have thought the variation would have been greater.
Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. I hadn't thought about that too much, but it does seem surprising. And I know that they actually have some mathematical rate where you run into, what do they call it, a non-paternal event.
Yes, 2% of people are not born to their mother's husband. And in the middle of the 20th century, from about 30 to 80 or so, about 2% of Americans were adopted. And often the record of their parentage, their birth record, was altered. And so a good bit of ancestry is lost in that way. There was a famous incident recently among one of our officers in which he discovered that he and a first cousin did not have the same DNA. He did gird himself off to confront his mother, and she did finally admit that her husband was not his father.
Wow, it's a painful thing. Gary, it's been great visiting with you again, and great stories about our former president, George Herbert Walker Bush. I appreciate your time and your expertise, and it's fascinating to see the interaction of all these different lines between our leaders and all the rest of us. You have a great day, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chartmasters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartmasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chartmasters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style of genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chartmasters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chartmasters today at FamilyChartmasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chartmasters will give the greatest care to your family history. Scientific studies have proven that youth who know even a little bit about their family history perform better academically and have a greater sense of personal confidence and stability. Genealogy is its own incredible superpower that arms our children with super strength. But how do you get your child or grandchild interested in studying their family history? That kind of stuff is just for grandmas, right? Not anymore. ZapTheGrandmaGap.com leaps the generation gap in a single bound. Author Janet Hovorka provides you with useful and timely advice on helping the young people in your life become engaged in their own family history. Janet has an entire collection of books to inspire the young and the young at heart in fun, interactive ways. She also offers creative tips and advice on her blog and in her free weekly newsletter. Stop by ZapTheGrandmaGap.com today to sign up for Janet's free email newsletter with 52 weeks of easy tips, free downloads, and order your set of resource books and workbooks.
Hey, we're back at it. It's Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show, and ExtremeGenes.com. Fisher here, your radio root sleuth. This segment is brought to you by Legacy Tree Genealogists. Check them out at LegacyTree.com. And I had the distinct pleasure back this past year to meet for the first time Kurt Witcher. He is the Allen County Public Library Senior Manager of Special Collections. And Kurt is an amazing guy who's accomplished a lot of things that I don't think most people realize. He is one of the people behind archives.org. It's the Internet Archives, and it is a place of wonder and joy for so many people in the research area. And Kurt, welcome to Extreme Genes. You got to tell us how you got involved in this.
Well, thanks, Scott. It's absolutely wonderful to be here. So we were introduced to Brewster and his awesome team actually through Microsoft.
Brewster Kahle, yeah.
Brewster Kahle, really an amazing genius. I've heard him speak in a number of different venues, and no matter the audience, they're in the palm of his hand in a few moments. So Microsoft had heard about the awesome collection that we have here that we've built over many decades.
And for people who don't know, by the way, it's in Allen County, Indiana, a beautiful little part of the Midwest.
Absolutely. It's a great place to visit and a great place to live. But Microsoft wanted to come and digitize the entire collection and use the metadata, Scott, to enhance search results for people who are interested in family history and genealogy. And, of course, when they were looking around for a top-shelf organization to do the digitizing, they went immediately to Internet Archive. We were developing this three-part relationship, Microsoft, Internet Archive, and Allen County Public Library. And Microsoft had a strategic meeting, and they decided, well, great idea, but we're going to move in a different direction. So they basically gave all the digital assets they had contracted with at that time over to the Internet Archive. And Brewster Kahle and our library director at the time, Jeff Kroll, and our team here said, this is just too great.
We cannot let this go.
Absolutely. So between those opening moments and today, there's almost 100,000 items from the Allen County Public Library's Genealogy Center in the Internet Archive. And that, Scott, is just so fantastic. So what Internet Archive and Brewster and his team did, they actually set up a scanning center here that not only scans materials from our collection,
right,
but from dozens of libraries all over the Midwest. So they actually live in our building, which is so convenient for us. Whenever we have a couple dozen to a couple hundred things to scan, they're just right in the same building. And they do some terrific work, again, for universities and libraries literally all over the Midwest. Internet Archive has a great presence on the East Coast and the West Coast, but not a whole lot in the Midwest until the scanning center here. And as you mentioned, Scott, oh my goodness, can genealogists, historical researchers, family historians, can they have so much fun on Internet Archive? There's just so much
there is. I mean, it's archive.org for people who want to check this out. I mean, it's an asset because it really takes the library to anywhere you are. And it's all absolutely free. And you're also a destination place, right, for people who are gaining new digitized information and they want to get it out there.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. So I tell my colleagues almost to the point, I think, Scott, that they're tired of me saying this, but this is really the best of times for genealogists and
never been better.
Historians. Never been better. Each day, millions of images come online through major information aggregators, and Brewster Kahle and his team are certainly at the core of that with all the scanning projects that they're doing literally all over the world, in the British Isles, here in North America. It really is amazing. And then to be able to search the texts of all those books and the keyed metadata for manuscripts and other digital assets, oh my goodness, the discoverability is really at an all-time high.
Well, and the Wayback Machine thing, I mean, that's just amazing.
It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
It is, to see the, former websites. I mean, I had a website for a radio show I was doing 20 years ago and found things posted there I had long forgotten about that somehow you guys captured.
Yeah, and Brewster is always imaginative and using his really sharp technological expertise to see what else he can do in the 21st century space. He's just all about trying to build, as he likes to say, the 21st century Alexandrian library.
That's what it is, online, so anybody
Absolutely.
can access it. I mean, when you think about all the knowledge that's available, sometimes, has it ever crossed your mind, Kurt, that maybe I'm looking for too much stuff and occupying myself with too much knowledge? It's like you don't go out and just do things that are a little more mindless or more physical because there's such a reward center thing happening there as you just find more and more stuff.
Well, that can be a challenge. Another kind of complementary challenge, Scott, is you can get distracted online and go down a completely different path.
Yeah, the rabbit holes.
2 hours later, you say, wait a minute, I was looking for this thing, and how did I get way over here?
I do that every day.
Right.
And there's DNA, too, when you get all
Absolutely.
that going. And my goodness. So let me ask you this. Years ago, it was said, well, maybe 5% of the world's records have been digitized and are online, which I think, frankly, would probably be a huge number, would it not?
It would be.
Do you think it's that high? Do you think it's that high now? Do you think it will be that high? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would defer to someone I really respect in the genealogy and technology space, and that's Dick Eastman.
Yes.
About 6 months ago, in one of his online newsletters, he articulated that at that time, so we'll call it mid-2018, that he believed just about 5% of the world's records are available online. So I think years ago, 20 years ago, when people said 5%, they were being very optimistic at that time.
Yes.
If you take a look at, and you've been around the country and in cemeteries and courthouses and libraries, I think he's about right. I think 5% sounds like a solid, defensible number. When you take a look at all the material that's in just one rural county courthouse, and then you go back and check how much of that material is actually online through Ancestry, Family Search, Internet Archive, it's like, oh my goodness, there's a whole lot here that's not online.
A ton. And that's the thing. I think we get kind of hooked into the idea that we're genealogists when we just look at the big websites and see what's out there. And if it's not there, it doesn't exist. And well, I can't find anything more, so I guess I move on because there's nothing more to be found. And it's a very dangerous mindset. You're cheating yourself out of a lot of possibilities if you aren't going out and hitting the Allen County Library, the Family History Library, the municipal archives in New York City. I mean, there's so many places with so much stuff. What a great opportunity we have now to maybe even at least get online lists of what those things might be.
Absolutely. And I like what you said there. You said it can be dangerous to use that mindset that if I don't find it online, it doesn't exist. Oh, my goodness, Scott, BC, before computers, you and I had to physically go somewhere to do any genealogical research. Now we can have a great head start. We can have great complements to physically visiting places. But to say that we don't need to go to courthouses and libraries and archives because it's all online, your word is great. That's dangerous. We're cheating ourselves out of part of our story.
You know, I like what you just said. It's a great head start online with the various sites, but it's not the end all if you're really looking and digging deep. And I think some of the best things I've ever found have been in archives, long before any of it wound up online.
Right.
Well, Kurt, thank you so much for sharing some of the information about the beginnings of archives.org. I know there are a lot of people who are completely unaware of it, and it's going to blow their minds when they see what all is there and what continues to be added. He's Kurt Witcher. He's with the Allen County Public Library, the Senior Manager of Special Collections. Kurt, just a joy to have you on. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Scott.
And coming up next, it is preservation time as we close in on the holidays. We'll be talking with Tom Perry, our preservation authority. That's in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Legacy Tree Genealogist is a proud sponsor of Extreme Genes. Based in Salt Lake City, Utah, near the world's largest family history library, we've worked with genealogists all over the globe since 2004 to track down records, find your ancestors, and the stories that bring your legacy to life. We also analyze DNA test results, help you join lineage societies, and find missing cousins. Legacy Tree is the recommended research partner of MyHeritage.com and is the world's highest client-rated genealogy firm. Call us toll-free at 1-800-818-1476 or register online to get a free estimate. Right now, you can save up to $100 on professional genealogy research. But hurry, this offer expires at the end of the month. Even experienced researchers can benefit from our proven and experienced staff of specialists who can bring new approaches to old problems. Learn from our free genealogy tips on our blog at legacytree.com/blog. Legacy Tree Genealogists. We do the research. You enjoy the discoveries.
Ever wonder where you got your bright green eyes or your infectious laugh? Thanks to technology, discovering your family story has never been easier. And we're bringing it all together at Roots Tech, the world's largest family history conference. Registration for Roots Tech 2019 is open. Join us February 27th through March 2nd for this incredible 4-day event at the Salt Palace Convention Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Learn from over 300 classes on topics such as DNA, capturing family stories, and preserving legacies. For a limited time, take advantage of promotional pricing. Purchase a 4-day pass for only $209 if you register before January 25th. That's $90 off a regularly priced pass. Explore over 200 exhibits in the expo hall and interact with the latest technology. Join the excitement, join the fun. Discover your family, discover yourself. Discover Roots Tech, February 27th through March 2nd at the Salt Palace Convention Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Register today at rootstech.org.
Hey, Genies, Fisher here with a shout out to our Patrons Club members at patreon.com/extremegenes. This is where friends of the show support Extreme Genes for as little as $1 a month, all the way up to the cost of a very nice burger each month. I mean, a really juicy one. You can support the show and enjoy various special Patrons Club member benefits, such as acknowledgement on extremegenes.com, special bonus podcasts from expert guests like Maureen Taylor, the photo detective, CeCe Moore, your genetic genealogist, great storytellers and experts on record sets from all over the world. We even offer expert advice on specific questions challenging your research. So go to patreon.com/extremegenes and get signed up. We love sharing your genealogical journey with you on our Extreme Genes Patrons Club. After all, what would you rather have? Inspiring and informative content or another greasy burger? The choice is yours. And thanks for supporting Extreme Genes. Oh, I cannot believe we're down to crunch time for the holidays. Hey, it's Fisher here. It's your radio root sleuth on Extreme Genes, America's family history show, and extremegenes.com. Talking preservation with Tom Perry from tmcplace.com. He is our preservation authority. And Tom, I'm glad you took a little time out of your very busy schedule. This is your tough time of year, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, we are really swamped, but we've got some room for those last-minute guys.
Yeah, I would imagine. But there are certain types of things you could do quickly and still get them in time for the holidays so you can give a family history gift to your loved ones. But there are some things that take just a little bit longer. So let's kind of go through the list. What's really easy to do, fast and furious for you, Tom?
Okay, usually the fastest and easiest thing to do, of course, is a VHS to DVD or Blu-ray. We do it in real time, so a standard VHS tape is going to take about 2.5 hours to do, but we can do a lot of those at the same time during the week, so those aren't problems. We can scan photos pretty fast. Slides take a little bit longer because the dyes in them, sometimes they need some more adjustments than others. Your mini DV tapes, your 8mm video tapes are fine. Audio is really, really pressed right now. People have just found a plethora of audio this year. We have reel-to-reel cassettes that are really lining up. We can sneak in. And most of these things are for about anybody across the country. So whether you're in Dothan, Alabama, Orlando, Florida, or Houston, Texas, talk to your local people, find out where they are on everything. And if they can take care of you, we really prefer you staying local as much as you can. But most people that do film the correct way take about 2 weeks because there's so many steps to go through. when we're digitally scanning it frame by frame and not just projecting it and shooting it, which is quick. But digital scanning, it takes a couple of weeks. Most people have to have their stuff done by Friday the 21st, or you're not going to have Christmas.
Boy, that's really true. You know, when you talk about home movies like that, that is certainly the case that there are certain people who will digitize it for you by simply projecting it onto a screen, right, and then videotaping it.
Oh, yeah, they shoot it with like a mini DV camera, or one of these cameras has a little chip in it, and they call it good. And, you know, that's the way we were doing it 20, 30 years ago, and the difference is incredible.
Yeah, it really is. In fact, you did this for me even just a few years ago, and of course, it's always getting better and better and better. But I love your way of doing it where you actually digitize it frame by frame. So we had, for instance, that situation where we had a little scene with my grandfather, my brother, my dad, and myself as a toddler sitting at a picnic table. And in those 240 frames, it's like 24 frames a second, right? We found one frame where everybody was looking up at the camera at the same time. And from that, I was actually able to make a 5x7 picture. It's the only photo I have of the four of us together because my grandfather died later the year after that photo was taken. Then my brother passed away at 21 years old, I want to say 8 years later. And then my dad passed away when I was 17. So this is the only picture of all of us together, and it was one out of 240. And we wouldn't have been able to get that if you hadn't gone and digitized everything frame by frame and made them into JPEGs.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Multi-generation photos are so important, and don't think, oh, we'll do it later. If you have a situation like that, you need to do it. We were so lucky with my mother, my sister, my niece, her daughter, and her daughter. There's 5 women in 5 generations, and we have a picture of them now. And if you wait for tomorrow, you might not have tomorrow, so you need to take care of stuff like that. If you've got it on the old film, let's get it done before all the colors fade out of it and you've lost it.
Yeah, that's really true. You do have to make adjustments, don't you, Tom, for each piece of film that you get, right? Because some of them are going to be faded in a different way, or maybe the color has changed, or the type of film that was used, or the age.
Yeah, even whoever did the processing for your film, like if you had it done by Kodak, you're miles ahead of having it done at a corner stand, because Kodak stuck to the standards which they set for everybody, but some people try to make the chemicals last longer and they're not as good.
All right, Tom, when we return in 3 minutes, we'll talk more about some things you still can get done in time for the holidays on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chartmasters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartmasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chartmasters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style of genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chartmasters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chartmasters today at FamilyChartmasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chartmasters will give the greatest care to your family history.
When was the last time you heard your grandmother's voice or saw your family enjoying life back in the 1950s or 60s? If the reason is you haven't known what to do with your old recordings, videos, and films, here's your answer. The Multimedia Center in Salt Lake City.
We brought in a video project to the Multimedia Center, and overnight they duplicated it to DVD so we could meet our deadline.
The Multimedia Center, 2870 East, 3300 South, Salt Lake City. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Call 801-483-1717 or go to transferduplication.com.
Genies, it's Fisher with exciting news. The Weekly Genie, the official newsletter of Extreme Genes, is here. It's your Monday morning briefing on what's happening in the world of genealogy and family history and on Extreme Genes. Get all the details of jaw-dropping stories of discovery and keep up with the latest techniques in family history research. Get to know more about your favorite Extreme Genes personalities, and it's free. Sign up for the Weekly Genie now at extremegenes.com or the Extreme Genes Facebook page. And when you do, you'll receive David Allen Lambert's top 10 tips for beginning genealogists from the chief genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society. Sign up today for the Weekly Genie. We are back. It's our final segment this week for Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show, and ExtremeGenes.com. Fisher here, your radio root sleuth. This segment is brought to you by FamilySearch.org. And Tom Perry is in the house. He's our preservation authority. And Tom, at this time of year now, we are so close to the holidays. I bet you people who are looking at this and thinking, oh, family history gifts, I could still do that. It's getting pretty tight for some of the more elaborate digitization projects that you might be involved with. But maybe there's a way to enhance one that you've already had done.
Exactly. That's really a good point. Like if you've already had all your stuff transferred to DVD or Blu-ray or a thumb drive or even a hard drive, one thing that makes a gift really wonderful is to take the time to go through it once and write down menu 1, these are the things that are on it. At chapter 1, there's this. Chapter 2, there's this. And kind of put an index together for it and package it inside the DVD case or wrap it up with the USB or something like that. Because remember the old days when you were at your neighbor's house and their dad brings out the slides and brings out the screen and you go, oh my gosh, I've got to sit through all of his slides.
Yes. Yeah, I had a friend of mine, and every time I'd go visit him, he'd want to bring out the film projector to show us movies of his wedding. And, you know, I was there. That was good enough. I didn't need to see the films again. And I got a big kick out of seeing my mom and dad's stuff because they looked so young. And it was a little weird. And the styles were different, and that was really a lot of fun, too. But you're right. I mean, the thing is now is we can actually pick and choose and create into chapters what we want to see. The other thing that came to mind is this is a fun thing to do when the family gathers. Put some of these things together and say, hey, help us to make this more usable by sharing some of your memories with that. And this is an opportunity for people to go through and voice some things. And you've mentioned this in previous episodes. Maybe record them in audio only and get their memories on that, and then add those memories onto the video and mix it with some music. You've got quite a piece then, you know, when somebody's saying, well, look, this was Aunt Myrtle back in 1959, and she had just gotten her brand new car, and her boyfriend, I can't remember his name, and, you know, this type of thing. I think that would be really useful in making all of these projects more usable and more enjoyable.
Especially when you do it when nobody knows what's going on. Like if you've got a family party or even just a small get-together for an hour or two, set up a television, play the DVDs, have your iPhone or some kind of recording device like a PZM mic, which we've talked about on previous episodes, and just sit there and just record what they call the nat sound, the natural sound. And people are going to be talking about, like you said, oh, I don't remember what the boyfriend's name is, but somebody's going to say, oh, I remember that. He was so-and-so from this. Whether you're having dinner, whether you're just having a little party, whatever, record everything. Just the audio is fine. That's all you need because you've already got the pictures. Then you go in and put these things together, add your indexes, and you're going to have a treasured gift to give next year for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever your holidays are going to be.
Yeah. You know, the problem with the holidays, Tom, is we all panic at this time of year, and that takes a lot of the joy out of it, right? And a lot of the fun. It's like, wait a minute. You've got an opportunity at the holiday itself to get ready for next year, and that will mean a lot of pressure off. You and people in your field are going to be able to turn these things around a lot faster.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of the DIYers, they're going to be able to do this kind of stuff themselves and have some absolutely incredible memories, and they need to remember how to do it. Just have your photo album sitting there with one of your extra iPhones or an Android sitting there with the record mode on. It doesn't take much memory, and you'll just be able to get some of the coolest responses of who these people are and what's going on, and then later on go and listen to it all, and you'll just be absolutely impressed with all the different options that you're going to have by having these simple recordings.
Tom, great advice as always, and we will talk to you again next week. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Well, I got to tell you, we had some heavyweights on the show this week. Thanks so much to Kurt Witcher from the Allen County Public Library talking about the Internet Archives, and also to Gary Boyd Roberts for sharing his thoughts on the ancestry of former President George H.W. Bush and how he might be related to more than half the country. Yeah, if you missed any of it, catch the podcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and ExtremeGenes.com. Talk to you again next week. Have a great one. And remember, as far as everyone knows, we're a nice, normal family.